Welcome back. My name is Troy Kinsey, and today we have a slightly longer video for you due to the subject matter. In today's video, we're going to discuss an approach to creating a roadmap using examples from service management initiatives. Let's start with definitions. So, what is a roadmap and what do we use roadmaps for? So, a roadmap is a high level visual representation of a project or program. It depicts a logical sequence of key events, which may be high level initiatives, projects, and or deliverables. Now, the audience for a service management improvement initiative, or really any improvement initiative for that matter, is typically very diverse. So, a roadmap must tell a coherent story simply. Now, you might very well ask, so what distinguishes between a roadmap and a project plan? So these are two very important tools with different but very complementary purposes. A roadmap is used primarily by the project or program manager and the team to communicate with and ensure high-level alignment across typically a diverse set of stakeholders. And these stakeholders may include individuals from within and outside the organization, so leadership, various delivery and support teams, as well as customers, and of course the project and program team itself. A project team, however, is primarily used by the project manager and team to track things such as resources, tasks, dependencies, durations, um, etc. A project plan, if constructed properly, can not only be used to track the interdependencies across these elements, but also forecast the impact that changes may have on the project, and can be used by the project and program manager and team to help find ways to improve the efficient and effective use of resources and time. And as we all know, all projects, regardless of how well we plan them out, things happen.
Houston, we have a problem.
So it's great to have this capability. So let's discuss some other key differences. So a roadmap seldom changes, and this is primarily because the roadmaps are fairly high level, depicting high level activities, outcomes, whereas a project plan is comprised of lower level, well, tasks. And a project plan is continuously being updated with percentages, hopefully, percentages complete, changes in anticipated task durations, and as the aforementioned unanticipated changes in dependencies, durations, etc. And it is, or should be, a working tool. That said, a project plan can, and certainly should be, used to guide high-level roadmap dates. So in creating a roadmap, where do we begin? So here's one approach, and this approach can be effective if a project or program manager or team isn't really quite sure where to begin. So step one, define final state. So let's start with outcomes. And for those of you who are familiar with my other videos or have read my book, you'll be very familiar with this approach. Start by clearly identifying and discussing end state. And it's important to really dedicate the time and energy to truly understanding what the end state is going to look like. Step two, create a list of activities that need to be accomplished in order to reach this end state. And for this next step, it's good to really just brainstorm, and preferably with the team as a team effort. And at this point, there are no rules. So simply focus on those key or those not even key activities required to be complete in order to achieve this final end state. And don't worry about whether they're tasks, activities, categories, or even action items yet. Just list them out at first. For example, if we're going to create a project to implement a service desk, for example, a new service desk, we might come up with the following. So we need to train staff, we need to establish protocols and processes between the service desk and service teams, we need to decide on a ticketing system, possibly an IVR solution, engage in yeah, any number. You get the idea. You get any number of activities that are going to need to take place, and especially for a project or a program of this magnitude. The key here is to encourage participation and new ideas regardless of the source. So get everybody involved. Step three, identify key deliverables. So these should be tangible deliverables, milestones, and they'll be used to mark progress within and across work packages, which we'll talk about shortly. And these deliverables should really resonate with a broad group of cross-functional stakeholders aforementioned. So in other words, they shouldn't be obscure. For example, if we're going to implement a new service desk, as I mentioned, there's a number of activities that need to take place. Agreeing on scope might be one of those deliverables, and we're going to want to make sure that we have a solid definition of scope, and we're going to want to make sure that we have, at one point, an agreement to which tool we're going to use. We're going to want to have sign off on the practices that we mentioned. The next step, step four, is to group similar activities. So group tasks or activities that contribute to the same deliverable together in a logical sequence to improve clarity. So these groupings of similar activities will ultimately become a work package for the roadmap. And then should we create a project plan, they would be essentially used as work packages for the project plan. And they should, as I mentioned, they should contain like activities. So by like or similar, we mean where the similar resources are going to be used to develop, create, implement, and likely similar meetings, workshops, etc. So what I typically ask project managers to do is create a format in their project plans where they have, at the very least, they have a work package for program management. So this, as you might imagine, would include things like establishing all those things required to establish a project, identifying clear roles and responsibilities, like the RACI diagram, establishing a customer engagement model, form of governance and decision-making communications, tools, cadence. Again, you get the general idea. We might have another work package, again, for creating a service desk for personnel, where we could include activities such as forecasting resource requirements, recruiting and hiring, training. You get the idea. Step five, clearly define done for each work package, done in quotes. So each work package should have a clear, easy to understand deliverable or set of deliverables that defines we have completed this work package and everything in it. And this complete list or definition of done for each should be very unambiguous. So the creation of a process document, for example, should have these are the people that need to approve it in order for it to be done and us to agree that yes, it is complete. Alternatively, if we were to say, yeah, we're done when we create the process, who's to say whether that's actually really done or it's kind of always in flux? This is a great opportunity to bring up governance, a formal process structure for decision making. And again, it's good to have this established upfront, early in the game. Step six, properly sequence each work package. So what set of activities must or should logically take place before another? For example, we're going to want to understand scope and requirements, the service desk, before we actually start hiring employees. Step seven, other considerations. We're going to want to aim for aggressive but achievable durations for each work package. So because we're creating a high-level roadmap, we're going to want to build also latitude or buffer, if you will, to ensure some flexibility. The other side of the coin is the more information that we can gather, the more activities that we need to be complete in order to finish and resolve the work package. The more people we can engage who are going to be accountable for those activities, the more information we can get, the better. Step eight, validate with those doing the work. So for each work package, a set of deliverables, um, are we reaching out to the individuals who are going to be responsible for doing those tasks or those activities that lead up to the completion of that package? Are we making sure that they're engaged and they're comfortable with the timeline, duration, um, and ultimately the dependencies? One note here, what I've seen project managers get hung up in is they will take a date that's been provided to them by a team, by customers or leadership, and then they'll work backwards, which is fine in terms of doing kind of a back of the napkin as possible. But really, roadmaps and project plans should be created based upon durations, dependencies, and buy-in by the people that are actually doing the work. Step 9, drive for alignment. So across all stakeholders. So beyond, now we're talking about beyond the team itself. So with the understanding that the roadmap is, again, it's a high level view. So making sure that everyone understands how it's written, what's taking place, what the sequence of events are, what the definition of done is. So there's no ambiguity as time goes on. And then the steps 10, continue to monitor and adjust. So here's great news. So in creating this roadmap, we have already started to establish the structure for a functional project plan. And the next logical step would be to use the roadmap that we've just created, including the work packages, associated deliverables, dependencies, and individuals assigned to actually flesh that out into a more detailed project plan that's fully, quote unquote, fully loaded, which means um, all of the actual tasks are in there and the actual durations, dependencies, the people that own those tasks, etc. Regardless, things change. Whether we're talking about a roadmap or a project plan, we're going to want to make sure that we're continuing to revisit more often for sure if we're talking about a project plan to make sure that it still makes sense. It's still communicating accurately what the intent is, the sequence, and high level timeline is. So thank you for joining us today. If you found this video helpful, please give us a thumbs up. And if you'd like to be notified when we release a new video, please hit that subscribe button. Until we see you in the next video, take care. Talk to you soon. Bye bye now.